All right, we'll give this just a minute to make sure it's caught up on YouTube and whatnot. But, hello if you are here. And what in the hell is that noise? Wow, that's crazy. Interesting. YouTube's playing a commercial before my live stream. Heinous. Heinous, I tell you. Give that a minute to go through, but yeah, we will get started here in just a second. We're going to cover a bunch of questions. I'll answer some stuff from you guys coming in, and I've got some topics to cover I think you're going to be pretty interested in. So, yeah, let's get started. Let me pull up something here, get some questions going. So hit me up in the chat, let me know who's on and how you're doing. And how's your mom doing? Happy Mother's Day to all, by the way. Hope everything's going great in that department. Let's see. Just a second here. It'd be easier just to use my phone. All right, see you there, Avon. Good to see you, man. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Glad you could join. Who else we got on here? Let's see. For some reason, the chat window isn't pulling up, so give me just a second here, guys. Don't know why this is being a problem. All new equipment and some new software, so still working out the bugs here. But we will get going here in just a second. All right, I think I am in. All new equipment and some new software. All right, so. Yeah, there's that slapback. That's what I couldn't find. All right, looks like we're all good here. Right, you catch him. How you doing? Adam, good to see you, man. Long time. And yeah, that's a lot of pedals in the background. We'll be talking about that to a good bit. And what you're seeing back there is just one of my boards. There's actually 3 full pedal boards back there. So basically I'm running NASA from the back of the room. But we'll talk a little bit about some new pedal board stuff, things like that. But one thing I wanted to do real quick is, before we get officially started, is give a shout out to someone. Mr. Michael William, known here on YouTube as Sanity's Void. I'm going to put a link to his channel when this finishes up in the description. But he did something really cool for me, and I wanted to give my appreciation there. Short story, when I was coming up, bass lessons were harder to find, you know, because I had to hitch a mule to my wagon and everything and travel into town. But I found a guy named Beaver Felton. You may have heard of him. And he had this huge library of really impressive bass lessons on cassette. And I ordered a ton of these things, and I literally almost took an entire week off of work, took a vacation, and just sat in the basement and did nothing but practice when these things came in. And through multiple moves and stuff, all this stuff has disappeared, but it had some real sentimental value to me. Uphill both ways, indeed. You've had the experience. But yeah, they had a lot of sentimental value, and I really wanted to hear them again, and I kind of put out some feelers and talked to Beaver himself, and he said he didn't have the originals, if I could find them used somewhere or anything, to go ahead and grab them. And Michael was cool enough that he had a couple of them, and made copies for me, and at no cost to me, you know, sent them out to me. And he had a friend who assisted him. I'm sorry I wasn't able to pull up his name, but I hope he doesn't feel too slighted, but I appreciate you too. That was really cool, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun hearing them. If you happen to have any of those cassettes, I'm still looking for some of them, or any of the recordings, I'm happy to either buy from you or commission copies. I'd love to get the whole collection. Like I said, it had a lot of sentimental value, and it's cool to listen to. Sometimes just going over the parts and, you know, thinking back to when I was a young whippersnapper first getting started on my bass. So, yeah, Peaver is awesome, aren't you? He's very cool. Rick, good to see you. Yeah, absolutely. Happy Mother's Day. Special Lonely Island song. I see what you did there. But anyway, also, got a couple of questions here. So I'm going to do a couple of questions. If you have some, please put them in the chat. And I'm going to bounce in between Patreon and the Facebook forum questions and one from here. But what I'm mostly going to cover today, besides your questions, is a change that I've wanted to make to the channel for a long time. And that's coming up. It's going to be kind of funny and ironic in one way, but we're also going to talk some gear, and as promised, I have something in the pickup department that you will only see here on this live stream. I have an exclusive on it, and it's a very cool story, and it's a very cool product. And just in time, I've also got another piece of gear that just arrived that you will only see here right now. So, you're getting the exclusives today. It's good stuff. So, first question comes from a patron named Shumar. Thanks for the question, man, and for being a patron. If I had to choose just one influence, a band or a person that affected my understanding of bass and metal, who would it be? Man, that's a good one. Because I have to cheat here a little bit, because there were some people who really hit me with different understandings, and I'm going to divide it in between who affected me structurally and who affected me sound-wise. Mandar, good to see you. Structurally, as far as bass playing goes, and you're going to hear his name a few times probably in this live stream, it would have to be Bob Daisley. He was the severely undercredited bass player who did a number of Ozzy albums, the early ones, but especially Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. And the reason it affected me was because up until that point, I still had this thing of like, bass players either play the root or you follow the riff. And you had, you know, our Lord and Savior, Geezer Butler, who would play all over the place. But even then, you know, it was usually during guitar solos or during little drum roll breaks or things like that. But he followed Iommi's riff most of the time. Whereas when you listen to Bob Daisley, even with heavy guitar or a riff, he'll play something completely different from the guitar. And it kind of broke my brain a little bit. Initially being able to go, wait a minute, even if there's a heavy riff going, I can play something different. And he played crazy, like all over the place. If you listen to songs like I Don't Know, or my absolute favorite, and I've done a cover of this song that I was meticulous about, and I'm going to finish the vocals on it and release it, but from Diary of a Madman, a song called SATO. There you go. Tone X3. I hope I'm hitting that right, or if you're doing the Roman numeral of 13. Honed SATO. Yeah, I've looked all over the web, and I haven't found anybody who plays it exactly right. Trust me when I say I've got this song down. I'll tell you a short story about why I feel I have it more exact than others. But yeah, it's just a master class, and like Ozzy is irrelevant in that song, SATO. It's a power trio of Randy Rhoads, Bob Daisley, and Lee Kerslake just plowing. And if you want one good statement of how to haul ass and make a specific upfront bass statement in a heavy format, listen to SATO from Ozzy Osbourne off the Diary of a Madman album. Now, on the other side of that, I would have to say sound-wise. The first time I heard Dee Dee Verney from Overkill on the Under the Influence album. There's a song called Drunken Wisdom. And I mean, he's loud as hell all the way through it. But man, the second his bass comes in and just destroys the mix. And I almost didn't know if I liked it. I just went, he just dominated everything. And it was so aggressive and so upfront that it made me go, the bass can almost be the premier instrument, overtaking guitars. So that one really affected how I saw the role of metal bass, even though I've been playing for a while. And, you know, there were other players that were up front, not like he is on that album and not like he is on that song. And I just went, after listening for a while and getting it in my head, I went, I want to do that. It's like Godzilla just stomping his way through a mix. So, yeah, those will be the two players and the two bands and influences that really changed and developed who I am as a player. So that was a great question, Shumar. So it really made me think. And so thanks for that. And I hope that answers the question and gave you a little something interesting to look into. Dennis Dunaway, good player, Mandar. Good to see you. And Carol, yeah, long time no see. Good to see you too. Now, to get to the gentleman who honed SATO, like I said, I'm thinking about doing a playthrough of it after I covered it, but here's two pieces why I feel like I've got it better than, like I said, I've researched this all over YouTube. Little Rodney was so obsessed with that stuff that before I even played bass, I found a cassette player that had one speaker on it that was flat and wide. Okay, this is going back to like the early 1800s. And when my father would make me go to bed, I would put it underneath my pillow and listen to it so that I could put my head on it and just be able to hear the music through it. So it was, you know, just pressed into my ear and he couldn't tell I was still up listening to music. And I've loved that song since then. And I would listen to it over and over. I knew every tiny little piece of it, even before I could play bass. In my, excuse me, first lesson with teachers, or my teacher, Sam, he was kind of stunned that I knew the bass line rhythmically and note-wise. He just had to show me where my finger had to go to make that sound. And so, you know, I really had a deep long-term knowledge of it. And after that, actually, I got to talk to Bob Daisley. He actually got on a phone call with me and we talked for almost 2 hours. It was like one of the highlights of my bass life. And we talked about me doing an instructional video when that was still a thing and I was working with a company. And he said he had been approached by a lot of people to do something about his style and his bass lines. And he had turned a lot of them down, and he gave me complete permission after talking to me to do it because he felt I understood his style completely in what he did, which was an incredible honor. It broke my heart that the company went bankrupt before we could commission doing it, but I'd still like to do an examination of him one day. And when I talked about how he composed SATO and things like that, he was like, you get it. So that was really cool. So I think I've got this one nailed down. I'm looking forward to releasing the song and the cover here eventually, and maybe I'll do like a full breakdown on the channel if that seems like something that'd be interesting. So, long answer on that one. Dee Dee is indeed the godfather of Clank there, Kevin. Didn't Rodney make a whole episode about him? What are you trying to say? Every episode is about me, as it should be. And my touch is accurate also. Oh, you've had one of my massages. But thank you. Now, on the next question here, we have one from Pat Will, and this is kind of on somewhat the same topic. He said, do I feel there are any modern or unheralded bassists that people should be listening to that I think they might not be? On this one, even though I'm not being the old man of the sea here or anything, but I'm probably going to lean more to classic bassists that I think deserve a little more attention, not because I don't know some modern players or think there are some great ones, but they still have their chance to shine right now. And you're probably going to stumble on them anyway. There's whereas, you know, players who are towards the end of their career or maybe finished up, you're less likely to find them. So here's a short list of some guys and some songs that are exhibiting, and this is also something I've been screaming about for ages, is there are classic styles and isms that used to go into metal bass and be part of the staple that just aren't being used anymore, and it's part of why things sound so similar all the time. There's a gold mine in the past of things that could be brought back, and you could be top of the heap. People think you invented this stuff, man. So one I'm going to say is Joey Vera, who has played in Armored Saint. He's been in Fate's Warning. He's been in Merciful Fate. I mean, he's just a journeyman bassist. And I was first exposed to him on the Raising Fear tour from Armored Saint, and he is a phenomenal bassist. Get Raising Fear from Armored Saint and check him out. All the stuff's really good, but he just is barn burning all the way through that album. From the Rooftops, from Fate's Warning, he does some incredible work in there. Just a fantastic bass player who seems to know exactly what to do every time. This will be kind of a pair of them, but from King Diamond and Merciful Fate, Timmy Hansen, who we lost not too long ago, amazing bassist. I would really hone in on Fatal Portrait as some good stuff, but Abigail and Them from King Diamond, amazing bass lines. Really underplayed, and Hal Patino took over from Timmy, and he did some great ones too. Now, the rarest one I'm going to highlight here is a guy named Michael Davis, and he played for a band called Lizzie Borden. They were kind of seen as maybe like shock rock, kind of in the Wasp vein of things, but he is an amazing bassist and actually studied under the master Stanley Clarke. Surprising, right? Get the Menace to Society album and listen to his bass lines. Dude, the stuff's hard to play. No joke. I'm actually thinking of picking a song off of there called Stiletto, The Voice of Command, and doing a playthrough of that. Listen to that song, and he is ripping in classic style all the way through it. I definitely recommend checking him out. My last piece on that is I wouldn't narrow my focus to just metal bassists. I would try and listen to bassists who aren't getting as much attention or need to be discovered. And just because they're not playing metal doesn't mean that what they are doing doesn't apply to metal. So I hope that kind of makes sense to you. But there's a lot of bassists who were doing, during the real kind of explosion of this stuff in the early 90s, that were doing stuff that's just absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, I would hate to see get overlooked. There are, you know, techniques and styles and things that fit into metal that I borrow from all the time. And one name I'll name in particular is a guy named Brian Bromberg. Look him up on Spotify or wherever you listen to your stuff. And he plays tapping in a cross-armed way that I've never seen anybody else do except for a momentary effect. But he actually composes pieces with his arms crossed over. Amazing. Would totally work in metal. I've used it. So he's one to check out, and also someone like Michael Manring that I don't hear talked about in metal circles very often, but he's just superhuman. Absolutely superhuman. Listen to a song called Celine from him. And he's constantly flicking hip shot detuners at the bridge and the headstock, reshaping the tuning of his bass as he's playing. And it just makes me want to punch him in the face. He's so good. So that would be my answers on there. And I've got one more question from Pat, but I'm going to go to the chat here real quick and see what else we have to catch up on him. Yes, I did do a full DD episode. I was kidding there, and I knew what you meant with your comment there, Raju. Joe DiBiase from Fate's Warning. Excellent. Excellent reference, Kevin. Really good. What is my favorite dirt pedal? Well, you can go back and, well, I'll be particular about it. One that's more a dirt pedal, my main preamp that has dirt in it is I'm using the SansAmp XB driver. That's kind of the core of my sound. But one that's more focused on dirt is the Lucid Hand Ground and Pound. I did a demo of it. Go back 2 videos and you'll see it. I am on board with that pedal and that company, and there's some news coming up about Lucid Hand here in a minute. But yeah, the Ground and Pound it's permanent on my board. Adam, fantastic albums. Glad you think so. Yeah, Bob Daisley played in Rainbow when Ronnie was singing. Excellent, Greg. Good. He was also in Uriah Heep early on. Yeah, Man Ring's hyper bass. That thing is just sick. Yeah, Man Ring should be way better known. I agree, Scott. Totally. Are you uploading videos again? Desert? I'm uploading right now. I've actually put out a couple recently, so check them out. Hope you enjoy them, and as I said, I'll be covering what's coming up here shortly. Now, the second part of Pat's question was unexpected finds and treasures. I've also been a big fan, if you've watched the channel for a while, of not always chasing the new sparkly, that there's classic pieces of gear and instruments and stuff that people have just forgotten about. And they hold up and sometimes, or very often, sound better than the new stuff we're using. I've come across some stuff in pawn shops, things like that, things you can get a really good deal on. Some recommendations of stuff I've found. Trace Elliott. Man, either a preamp or a head. Make sure you get the full extended graphic EQs. Not only do they look cool, they've got like green print, and if you get the head, it has black lights in it and stuff. That looks fantastic on stage. But their heads and preamps, I mean, Steve Harris has used it. Victor Wooten used to use them. Doug Wimbish used to use them. I mean, they were hugely popular, even in the US, because they're a British company. You can pick them up for a song now, and those things are sharp and clear and have a distinctive sound that are great, and you can scoop them up. And one of the others I recommend that people have completely slipped on is the PV Mark IV bass head. 2-channel bass head, old as hell, but man, people use this all over. You have Billy Gould from Faith No More. A lot of the thrash guys used it. Dee Dee Verney, his original tone, PV Mark IV. People don't realize that. Owen from Circle of Tone, another great channel. Shout out to Owen. He just did a thing on Dee Dee Verney and that head, and I thought it was great. But yeah, I picked mine up for 110 bucks. Complete steel. And it's grindy and it's gnarly, and if you want that old Faith No More, original Dee Dee Verney sound, grindy thrash kind of thing, man, that is your beast. And for 100 bucks, it will destroy half the stuff that you're listening to now. No joke. Let's see. Let me back up a few. I think I missed a couple. Time to see. Can I give some details about playing on Bubba Bash? Okay, I'll drop in a few. For those of you that don't know what Carol is referencing, I perform at a yearly concert called the Bubba Bash. It's called that because that was Neil Peart's nickname, was Bubba. And it's basically a gathering of players who admire or had some connection to Neil Peart or Rush in some way, and we come together and do a benefit show for the Neil Peart Cancer Fund at Cedars-Sinai, which, of course, knowing my health issues and stuff, is near and dear to my heart. And it's just fantastic fun. We have, like, Mike Portnoy usually does it and comes in, Frank Bello from Anthrax. It's where he and I became friends. Just this really eclectic group like Ed Toth from the Doobie Brothers, and people you would never think are these monster players. And we all get together and just perform You know, like they'll put together a group, okay, it's going to be Ed and Rodney and this guy, and we're going to do, you know, Xanadu, or we'll do something like that. And the show goes on, and we've actually raised quite a bit of money, and it's really a worthy cause and really cool. So that's principally how it is. The way I got involved is through my association with Tech 21. They are the vice president and operations manager are kind of the part of the core of who's put this together, and the band Why Not is also the host of it and doing a lot of the, if there's no one to play a certain song, they're going to do that, and they also do, you know, sets throughout. And through my association with them, I got invited in, and that's how I got started. So maybe I'll drop a story or two later on about that and readdress it, but that's how it happened. Yes, I agree, Matt. The ground and pound is a mighty device. Memphis Bones, thank you so much. It's really kind of you to say. I hope to give you some new cool stuff coming up. Raichu, checking out jazz and fusion players. Yep, definitely a lot to learn from. And I'm hopefully going to be doing some lessons on how to transform other styles into metal. So that'll be part of what we'll discuss here soon. Dan from Nuclear Assault used Peavey. Absolutely. All those early guys had it. And it's cheap, and it's a grind machine. Love the XB driver. And Scarbase 1. Another great piece. I had it here on the channel. Love it. Drifter, good to see you, man. Glad you could join. And yeah, it's been a minute, huh? And yes, Scott, we know Tim Starace is your spirit animal. Yeah, Tim's a great guy. He's absolute family, as is Dale Crevens, who's at Tech 21 as well. And that's part of, again, something I'm going to address here shortly about companies and relationships and things like that, where it really becomes important, and especially as I'm making some changes to the channel of why they will still be a part of it. So let's see. So as far as what we're doing, or what I'm doing with gear, is the biggest change coming up is going to be that I'm going to be doing a lot less gear demos. Really, I never wanted this channel, and I'm not going to allow it to turn into a commercial. It's just not what I wanted to do, and I wanted to make this more of a community and a place where metal and hard rock bass were taken seriously and not just kind of pushed to the side, and have resources. I want to focus a lot more on performances and on lessons. And that's one of the things that's held me back. I've got some lessons and things I want to do for you guys that have been sitting for like 2 years, because one of the problems, and this is a little creator insight, is it's some more complex ideas. I have a hard time fitting into like what the content of the video is by fitting it into a thumbnail or a little description. It takes more explanation as to what is actually in the video if you're covering a deep idea. So it's hard to get people to actually see it. The other problem is, if you don't know you should be looking for something, you're not going to search for it. So it does, I have mercy on a lot of creators sometimes, because we wind up having to do stuff that's just popular because that's what someone will search for. If you do an obscure topic, people may love it and really want it, but they don't know to look for it. So it just falls by the wayside, and then you're screwed. But now here's an irony, because there's also going to be a flurry of gear demos coming up here, which is going to stand right in the face of what I'm doing. But I've been handed more gear recently than the channel has ever been given. And I've been turning a lot of it down. It's just not what I want to do, and I think that a lot of the gear demo stuff, I think, is just burning out. Even some of my friends, like a lot of the creators and the gearheads and stuff, we talk to each other and things, but it's really turning into that thing of like, you'll see guys that are like, this is the greatest amp I've ever tried. It's great. It's the holy grail. It's wonderful. Until next week. And then next week, it's, this is the greatest amp. It's, they've had the greatest amp 30 videos in a row. And you lose your credibility that way. And there's no way they're all the greatest amp you played unless you have just zero personality. And just whatever the new sparkly is, you chase it. And I think people, and I'm hoping people are just starting to burn out on that. They want to be offered something else. And so when you see demos or demonstrations from me anymore, I'm going to call them more demos now than reviews, because you're going to only see positive things, and there's a reason for that. Because anything I don't like is just going to get sent back. But the reason I don't think I'll have that problem is my videos are going to be more like a show and tell. It's as I get gear in that I love and I'm excited, I want to share it with you. So that's more where it's going to be coming from, and it's going to be a small group of people, and new companies just aren't going to find a place here because I'm over it. You know, there's only so much stuff you can do and so many toys you can play with. You got to play bass at some point. But like, you'll always see stuff from Tech 21, from EMG, from AMT, and now from Lucid Hand, who I think are just amazing in what they do and just blow me away all the time. These companies, not only do I have a gear relationship, every one of these people, and Lucid Hand seems to be turning that way as well. Nuno is a great person. I have a relationship with them. I believe in what they do. And they're surprisingly sometimes smaller than you think they might be. And those are the people I want to support because they support me. And that's more of what you're going to see here. Less companies you haven't seen me cover before, and just the new presentations of core things that I rely on and make up my sound. And yeah, I'm just not going to be as open to it. And I want to focus more on giving you guys things that affect your playing, not just your sound. So that's where I'm trying to position myself and move forward. And on that, if you have not, and I'm going to bust your nuts about it, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. And I know everybody says it, but there's a good reason here. Is for these more complex videos that I want to put out in these subjects, they're not going to get picked up by the engine, and you're not going to get alerts for them if you're not subscribed and doing that. It's, you know, like Rick Beato, because he's so big, he can just start a live stream and do some obscure lesson and get a couple 100,000 views on it. Mine just will get buried. I'll get 10 views on it, and it gets hard to keep making videos like that when they're not getting discovered. And the only way to tell YouTube that I should be doing more of this and they should be promoting it is to hit the subscribe thing. Seriously, the people who watch the channel, only 26%, I can see the back end, are actually subscribed. So when you see my stuff, just, it's a couple of clicks, man. It's all free here. Just hit a like, a share, subscribe, you know, all the crap. But it really helps out, and help me help you. So I'm going to do a gear thing here in a minute, but let me go back up a minute and see what we got as far as any potential questions and stuff in the chat. Carol, glad you're still enjoying the Evil Twin bass. That's a good one, man. Right, you. Yeah, well, the reason there's so much gear stuff out there and not enough music is because, and I'm not slamming these people, but they're not music teachers. They're enthusiasts, and that's not what I want to be. You know, I taught at Musicians Institute. I've written curriculum. I've done a ton of different things that I feel I have something genuinely different to offer as far as education, and I'd rather pass that on than tell you how great this piece of gear is that you're going to forget about in 2 weeks. Useful information over sparkly dopamine hits. Drifter, glad to hear you agree. Joseph, Patreon lessons. Absolutely. That's part of the restructuring I want to do. Eventually, I think I'm going to be leaving Patreon. There's some things that I don't like about their structure. I'm looking at a couple other platforms, but I want to be able to do kind of like the top level of a lesson or some training in a YouTube video that's shorter, so that people can kind of graze through it, and then more extended versions of it and things like that for memberships and stuff like that. Definitely part of it. Patrick Hunter disease. Not here to slam anybody, but I'm just saying. Seeing flat wounds and dead strings become super popular again in a lot of forms of social media. Flats and old strings have a place in metal, hardcore, and rock. Rick, interesting question. Everything has an application as long as you like it. That's it. I'm not a follower in that regard. Whatever you like does it. For me, like 10 minutes after I've put on a set of strings, I want to change them again. I like the hyper brilliant, super crisp, like dead strings. To me, it's like if I ever got caught doing espionage against another government, that's all they'd have to do to get the information out of me. They could pull out my fingernails, torture me in hundreds of ways. All they'd have to do is hand me my bass with dead strings on it. I'd be like, oh, what do you want to know? I don't care. I'll tell you anything. Just let me change the strings. Yeah. But if dead strings and a smoother, rounder tone does it for you, dude, run with it. It's your bass. It's your sound. It's your musical statement. It belongs to you. Do it. There are no rules because it's metal. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Not only Hunter getting out of hand. Yeah, I agree. Again, it's most YouTube channels with the gear things. They're just running out of ideas. Matt, thanks for stopping in, man. Take care of yourself. Have a good day. And yeah, kind words, Matt. All the best to you. Take care, man. Scott, demo videos are getting mundane. Yeah. And Tech 21, yeah, they make great stuff, and I'm always interested in it. So it's kind of like you start finding companies that they think the way you do. So the stuff that they keep coming up with, you're always going to be interested in. So that's what makes sense and why I named the companies I did. What's the best 5-string FSO bass? FSO. You may need to spell that one out for me. I'm having a slow morning. I don't have coffee within reach, so hit me up with that. Looking for something with a type B. I got to fight with that one. I've played tons of different basses, and if you're talking about extended scale or stuff, it comes down, and I will fight somebody to death over it. The quality and the structure of the bass matter far more to the tightness of a low B than even scale length does. I will blood sport someone. If you look behind me, you see the Sunburst bass? That's one of a really early 90s when they first started making them, PV neck through TL series 6-string bass. It's a 34 scale and has one of the best B strings I've ever heard. It's solid maple. It's got great multi-laminate neck in it. Amazing. So don't always judge things off of one quality. It's a combination. A bass is an ecosystem. It's made up of the sum of its parts, not just one thing. So keep that in mind, but, you know, go after what you like. Misappropriation of consciousness. Versatility of new pedals and amps is beginning to make new equipment obsolete, if that's possible. Yes and no. There is that thing, and it does make it easier, but the difference is, I think, with a lot of the modeling stuff, is you have to have something to steal from. So if amp makers stop making amps, you can't make a model of an amp nobody invented. So there's always going to be that necessity in there, I think. Tips for players in studying terms of live performance, being an engaging performer. Absolutely. It takes practice and it takes study, just like any other art form. My best advice would be find who you think are the best frontmen. You know, there are people who you think, man, I want to be just like that. and just study them. Watch what they do. What do they say in between songs? Things like that. You'd be amazed at how scripted a lot of people's stage banner really is. Watch their moves and things, copy them exactly, and then start to make your own modifications. It's just like learning bass. You study something, you learn their cover songs, and then you start adding your own spice into it. Every great frontman I've ever seen always has a story about the people he stole from. So there's definitely that, and just make a practice of getting used to speaking in front of people. And the idea of not being comfortable with being heard and the center of attention, eye contact. A lot of like business seminars about how to deliver keynote addresses, things like that, can really help because they talk about posture, they talk about eye contact, they talk about tonality. It's all the same thing. So I would start there. Glad you're cutting down on gear reviews. Cost enough. Oh, get ready to spend some money. I got 2 things coming at you here in a minute. Kevin. Will you try demo the dark glass anagram? Probably not, to be honest. Again, it's something I could see why people find it interesting, but it's just not that interesting to me. I just, with the stuff that I use, I'm happy with the way it functions. I'm sorry, if you'd like to see it, and I appreciate you wanting to see me do it, but, and I haven't had the greatest back history concerning dark glass and things like that, so a relationship there probably isn't going to develop too well. But I'm sure, I mean, they do amazing promo campaigns and stuff. If you want to see some stuff on the anagram, though, I can turn you on to someone who's going to do a great job with it. He's a great friend of mine and was one of my coaches at Musicians Institute. On YouTube and Facebook, look up Dale, D-E-A-L-E, Titus, T-I-T-U-S. Really great guy, amazing player, and he's, from what I've seen, all over the anagram. So give him a shot, and he'll probably take care of you. Like a pile of scrap steel tumbling down a metal case, yeah. I like flats high tension, fender-shaped object. AAAA. Thanks so much, man. Am I Berkeley instructor in open counseling? Well, coincidentally enough, that's what I used to do. I taught at Musicians Institute, and I used to do a lot of free open counsels. So glad to see that's carrying through. Thank you. I remember you mentioned DiMarzio Model Ps. Do you still consider them a good substitute for stock cheap passives? I do. And if you watch my recent video, I did a preamp that models the GK800RB, another Lost classic, and it puts it inside your bass. It's amazing. And it's from Lucid Hand, and it cleared up the set of DiMarzios that I had in it. Beautiful, amazing. That was my only gripe with them, really, was the DiMarzio always had a bit of a blanket over the tone. This thing turned it into crystal clear. Given the choice, though, I do prefer the EMG Geezer Butler set over the DiMarzios. So if it were me spending the money right now, I'd go with the Geezers. Any metal fretless players you want to recommend? There's always going to be, and it's horrible, I'm having like complete brain lock right now. Steve DiGiorgio is always going to be the classic reference. And then you have the guy from, is it Obscura? I think that does that. But again, don't always come from the metal type of thing. One person, if you want to look into rock and you could lean into metal bass, that will always be a classic. Look up everything he's ever done, especially when he was in a band called Blue Murder and some solo stuff that he's done. Look up Tony Franklin. Incredible. Really sweet guy. I've talked to him before, and his bass lines absolutely rip and have attitude, and he plays less elegant and more aggressive fretless. Love that guy. I steal from him anytime I can. I'd recommend him the most. Am I grad here, 2000? Nice, man. Very cool. Yeah, I was a few years before you. I graduated 95, and I started teaching about 2 months before I graduated. And that's where I developed something I'm going to talk, a curriculum I'm going to talk about here in a minute, and I'm going to offer the program here soon. Is all clank the same? No. Clank is a very specific term. Just because a bass cuts through a mix doesn't mean it's clanky. It's a specific tonal range. Good things, the best references I would say of clank that I can think of as far as thrash and things like that would be like Dee Dee Verney, obviously. And if you were to listen to Jack Gibson from Exodus, it's a very bright, metallic, pinging sound that comes through. But you don't have to have clank to cut through. Look at Lemmy. But clank is a specific thing, but there's all kinds of ways of developing an aggressive tone. Look at Eddie Jackson from Queensryche. Kind of riding the semi-clank, semi-grind type of thing is our man Frank Bello. So, you know, there's different approaches. Just be happy with your tone and don't tone chase just because you feel like you should. Go for it. Any thoughts on the new Schecter Reaper basses? I haven't seen one. I haven't seen anything from Schecter in quite a while. Probably won't see it here on the channel. Anything like that. I haven't been doing Schecter for a good bit, so from when I was with them, they made some great basses and everything. I really haven't kept up on what they're doing right now, though. The anagram question. Yeah, I mean, if your board's working for you, stick with it there, man. Class grooves. Black metal guy with a half fretless, half fretted bass. Venom used to have that. The originators of the blackest of metal. I don't know if that's the same guy, but that's him. Start an OnlyFans page for gear money. Yeah, it's getting that way. Yeah, Kronos from Venom, exactly. Good call, Desert Cruiser. Jazz Infusion fretless player, check out Gary Willis. I learned some stuff from Gary Willis. I was really, really honored and lucky to have studied with him for a little bit. And I picked up some things from him that are going to be incorporated into some new lessons. I've got a thing about playing with fingers and why I can get the identical sound to a pick player using my fingers. You're all liars. I'm going to prove it. You're going to hear it. I'm putting this debate to bed for all time. Montoni, good to see you too. Had a short conversation with Gary. Yeah, absolute destroyer of bass and a great guy. So let's get to a little piece of gear. One of the biggest questions I've gotten from the YouTube comments, maybe from some of you, is compression. I consider compression to be absolutely essential, and I've always been on the hunt for the perfect compressor. I did a video about using compression and why I feel it's what a lot of players, especially clank players, are looking for when they're looking for distortions. That you can actually use it instead of the traditional way of thinking of compression, using it to bring up detail and articulation and hyper clarity to get that clank out of it. And I'm always asked, which one would you recommend? Which one would you recommend? Well, you're seeing it here first, and this is the one I have been waiting for. I plugged this in. I just got it yesterday from London. I plugged it in for a few minutes, and I was in a fetal position crying after it. It's so good. It's perfect, and this is already on my board. But from Lucid Hand, again, phenomenal company. This is the Alma compressor, and he's just gone on to revision 3. There was 1, 2, and 3, and it looks, let me see if I can get it right up here. Kind of hard to see, but it looks like this. This is, he's redoing the page. It's not even on his page yet. This thing sounds like what I want, and it solves a problem that I've been screaming about for ages. if you understand compression, you understand that basically it takes the loud parts of your playing or your overall EQ spectrum and brings them down to center, and it takes the soft parts and lifts them up to even them out some. The problem with that is that it changes your tone. If you dial in your tone before the compressor, then if it lifts a bunch of lower bass up, now your sound sounds darker than before because now you're hearing that low end more because it's getting crushed in. Or if your treble was really bright and it was where you wanted it, now that's crushed down and it's not quite as bright. Like I said, having a little hard time getting this to focus on it, but if you can see this, there is an EQ dial right here that you can rebalance the sound, and you can set it to 900 hertz or 250 hertz, so you can either do upper mids or low mids, and dial in whether you want them brighter or darker on here, reshaping your tone through this. And it is a thing of beauty. This is my next demo coming up. If you want to know anything about what I think of compressors, that'll be in there, and this is on the board permanently. Couldn't be happier with it. And if you want my suggestion for the compressor you should get, you're looking at it right here. Exclusive to you guys, it's not anywhere else. Like I said, it's not even live on the web page yet. So the Alma Mark III version, absolutely wonderful. Couldn't be happier with it. So very cool, and I was really glad it came in just yesterday so I could get to show it to you guys. And I like it. It's a little different, you know, white and chrome, not always the standard type of look. So very sexy, very clean, and some new features from the old version. So good stuff and more great gear from Lucid Hand, totally. Let's see. Most metal basses are going to EMG 445 soap bars. Music Man seems a lot more flexible. Well, we're going to be talking EMG and something in that department here in just a minute. But dual Music Man 5-string, I don't see them necessarily as being more flexible. Not putting it down, I have any problem. A pickup's a pickup to me. But having a shape that people can swap out on a regular basis, to me, is a big benefit. You know, it's harder to find things in multiple different size formats. That's one curse that we do have as bassists is, you know, we've got split P, you've got 40 soap bar, you've got M4 Bartolini size, you've got Music Man size. It's, you know, depending on your bass, you're constantly having to switch options due to form factor. So I do like the 40 shape. Well, like with this, I'll show you what a bass I have here. I got so annoyed at the Bartolini M4 being in all the Ibanez that I did some custom work to like this one, which you may have seen here on the channel, and got some rings and added 40s to put my EMGs in it. And, you know, we have a nice bass. And by the way, I'll be letting this one go. So if you want a really good deal on a super custom bass, hit me up. I'll be cutting that one loose. Great bass, super low action. I just have some stuff I got to move here soon. But, yeah, I mean, Music Man, I would actually have a harder time finding my sound, at least, the coils, unless I'm sticking with EMG, out of Music Man's than I would out of 40s. Yeah, you have so many MM shapes. Bartolini, but Bartolini also makes 40s. They do M2s. They do, yeah, all of them. Fell in love with the Empress comp, another good one. MXR M87 does a good job too. Yeah, fresh strings are, it's like heroin. I love the bright sound. MM's because of the wiring mods. Okay, I get that, makes sense. The only MMs that I've really liked so far are, you know, of course, EMG, and I've liked the TWX series because they have a push-pull pot where you can go from using one of the single coils like a jazz to a full humbucker. And I've got one that's an MMX in the bridge position and then a regular JX in the neck, and it's pretty thunderous. It's a good sound. What's my typical approach to fitting into a mix with 2 guitar players? Turn their amp off. Finding it hard to EQ in a way when the whole band doesn't step on each other. Yeah, it takes cooperation from them too. Most guitar players develop their sound by themselves and then expect the rest of the band to work around it. They don't even try and fit with drums. But I always consider bassists as kind of the boxers of the band in music and tone. It's like we sit here like this and then we look for our opening. And then when we find that opening, we punch through it. So you've got to find basically the gap in their frequency. It's a little hard to relate without being able to hear like your guitar player's tone and stuff. But after a while, you kind of learn, okay, this guy's heavy in the low mids, this guy's kind of scooped, this one's using upper high mids, and you start to know where you can lean to start cutting through. I actually have a video on this. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you're willing to spend a little time on the channel, I do have a video where I compare a couple of different guitar sounds and you hear how radically different it makes my bass sound, even though I'm not changing anything with the bass. And it's a good lesson in EQ masking, meaning what they're doing will cover up parts of your sound and make you sound different. So you have to learn how to anticipate that and work around it. Or just turn up loud as shit. That works too. Let's see. Romario, hello there. Hello to you, sir. Thanks for joining. Recently, I'm playing with a standard EMG PJ set. My bass can split the pickups into 2 outputs. Give me a lot of room to explore. That's heavy. That's interesting, man. I love the... I always appreciate somebody who's willing to noodle and, get in there and really try some alternative stuff. So good on you, Montoni Bass. Foo Fighter, hey Rodney, good to see you back on YouTube. Good to be seen. Have you tried any basses with Nordstrands? I have. I respect Nordstrand. That was what was originally in the bass I just showed that I carved out for EMGs. It's just not my sound. I haven't extensively tried them, but they're just, they do well. They're a nice tone, but to me it's a little nice. I just wasn't able to get what I do out of it. But I have a little bit of old school throwback in my sound in that I seem to like a bit more grit and ugliness in my sound than some modern players I do too, seem to run into do. So always a good choice. And Kerry Nordstrand, nice guy, really nice guy. I've met him at NAMM a couple of times, but just not my tone. That's all. Do you agree pickup placement matters more than pickup type matters? No. Pickup placement is important, but again, everything is an ecosystem, but you can't, taking like a jazz pickup and putting it in where a P bass would normally go is not going to give you a precision pickup sound. That's just not going to happen. Doesn't matter where you put it. It's a balancing of the two. It's like a lot of guys who play Spectre, like the P pickup setup with the downside or the lower strings being closer to the bridge. I prefer it forward like the Fender style. It's a placement issue. It does sound different. I couldn't just put a different pickup in there though and have it sound that close. So placement matters. The pickup matters too. I would say the pickup is going to be the big determiner though, because of winding, magnets. It's the dominant part of what they're doing there. Let's see. Seems like maybe we got somebody weird jumping in here. Honorable mention for bass player isn't recognized. Sean Malone from Cynic. Absolutely. A player I should have mentioned with when we were talking about sorry, give me just a second to okay, need to get a troll out of here real quick. Yeah, Sean Malone is a master who we lost And, you know, I mean, this guy was doing stuff that apparently only gets taught on Mars. It's just insane. So, yeah, I would look into anything from Cynic, especially, and Agora, of course. And he has some incredible videos on YouTube, really worth looking at. Great guy, great player. Really just such a shame that we lost him. Hats off to Sean, man. Godspeed. If anything sounds bad, it would be the bass in the low end around 400 hertz. Mixing bass for us guitarists is so hard because we realize what we use for guitar doesn't work as me. And again, that can be variable. There's no hard rule about something because when you say, well, there's a fixed frequency that will always sound bad. Well, what if your pickups don't have an emphasis or actually have a cut in that frequency? Well, then it's already dealt with, and by cutting more of it, then you're dealing with some awkwardness. So it really just comes down to ear. You have to listen to the sound first, judge it with your ears after. So, you know, it's kind of a just watch it as it goes. I have gear acquisitions regarding bass pickup coil pickup shapes. All the shapes seem more important on bass than on guitar. This is true, and you're going to see even more of it here in just a second. I've been able to find a tone without bi-amping since I started. Has that always been the way to an ultimate tone? No, it definitely, bi-amping definitely helps, but I've done it for a long time. I've not done it for a long time. Perfectly usable tones. Some of the best tones I've ever heard are straight sounds. So it's just what's your favorite way of getting there? We all have an idealized sound in our head, and you jump on a path and just roll with it. Aaron McSporin, highly recommend him. I'll have to look into it. I'm not familiar. Wouldn't attract trolls if you weren't doing good work. Yep. Got to be judged by the people who hate you. Hey, Rodney. Liam, good to see you, man. Active or passive? I have a Grossman bass and a Scar bass 1. I like passive more. Active or passive? Which sounds better to you? That's it. You'll find that my position on just about everything where it's a this or that, it's what do you like? There's no rule. There's nothing, especially in rock and metal, we're supposed to be breaking rules. There's no orthodoxy, and your sound is an expression of you. If it feels right and it sounds right, you run with it and to hell with everybody else, including me. But seriously, just listen to me. But yeah, Ronnie, just if it works for you, that's the best tone. So let's get to our second exclusive here. Because we're talking about these pickup shapes, and that's a great lead-in, when EMG has a number of shapes, they have, you know, standard P and J, they have the 40 and 35 size, and they have the Music Man. Usually what you're getting with them is they have their P, their J, their DC, their CS, and that type of thing. And you're getting that pickup in a different form factor. So if I wanted a P, I could get a split P, I could get a 40 soap bar P, I could get a P in a Music Man type of thing. And those are generally the three that they do. The standard 4 shapes, the soap bars, and the Music Mans. What this makes a problem out of, and like I showed with this bass earlier, for anybody just getting in, why I route out these basses and fix them up is because they had what's called the M2 or M4, which Bartolini uses, Nordstrand uses, who else? Aguilar sometimes uses some. Ibanez has some stock pickups that they use that are like that. And they haven't had anything in that area. So they have, you know, one sound that you can get in different things, and then those. But that has changed. You're the first one seeing this. I've been working with EMG for a little while now, and we have M4 size coils now. The other thing that makes these interesting is this is a totally new sound from EMG. It's not a P, It's not a humbucker, it's not a DC, it's not a J. It is a totally new sound. It's in the J heritage, but it's a different architecture. They are ceramic magnets, so they do have a good aggression to them, and they sound amazing. I was really honored that EMG reached out to me, and I've been helping them do basically some beta, giving opinions, doing some tone comparisons, samples, trying them out, doing that type of thing. So yeah, it's definitely an honor coming from EMG for them to go help us, shape the final pieces of this. But these are going to debut in August, and I'm going to be working with them on some content and getting these launched, and that should be really, really cool. So I'll be doing some stuff. I'm sure they're going to make a big splash, and I know they're talking with some manufacturers, so you'll probably see these coming out in some larger guitar makers' stock instruments. So those will be out there. So if you have ones in that slimmer shape done by like Bartolini and things like that, now EMG has something that you can fit directly into it. And again, it's a brand new sound from them. So it's not a variation on anything. And that's been really cool, hearing something where I was like, I don't recognize this sound. And I know EMG forward and backward. Really, really cool. I can't wait to get like 100 of them. Now, on the EMG note, one of the things that's going to be coming up on the channel is I'm going to be having my friend Tommy from EMG, who runs the A&R department. And I've had a lot to say about companies A&R, and people ask me a lot about endorsements. We are going to cover endorsements, what people screw up constantly, what an endorsement really means, and why you should or shouldn't have one, what he looks for in people, and developing a relationship with a company. Also, some fun stories will be in it about dealing with rock stars and how he got his job there and things like that. It's going to be a really great interview, and from, doing A&R from one of, if not the top pickup manufacturer in the world. So he's dealt with everybody, EMG. So there's going to be a lot of valuable information, so you'll be able to hear some stuff from him too. And if you're looking to really boost your presence and work with a company, there's going to be good information there for you. So keep an eye out for that one. Tommy from EMG, and he's just a great guy. And like I was saying earlier, what I've learned about endorsements is the relationship you have with the company and the people in it becomes way, way more valuable than just trying to soak somebody for a little free gear. What's most important to me are those relationships that I have with them. And the crew at Tech 21 has always had my back. Tommy has been astounding in his kindness with me and doing things. Every one of the companies that I've been talking about, AMT, Tech 21, EMG, stuff like that, all of them have become my close friends now. Members of Tech 21 were at my recent wedding. It becomes that type of thing. You develop a family of people who are not just doing business together, they're on a musical journey of mutual support, and that's what you need to be pursuing. It's great stuff. So that's going to be a great interview, and we'll talk a lot more about that. But new EMG, you got to see it first. Sound samples will be coming up before too long, but launch in August, and it's a new option for you. So let's see what we have there. Do you think passive bass pickup mods have a place in modern metal bass, or is that something from the 60s or 70s that's out of favor? Passive bass pickup mods. I'm not sure exactly what you might be referencing, but if a mod sounds good, it has a place. Like I said, I know I'm sounding annoying, but it really does come down to that. If you think something's cool and if it sounds good to you, I dive into things that people think are old school all the time or out of date, and then they're like, oh my God, how'd you get that sound? And I just laugh at them, because it's like, I'm open to whatever gets me there. If I'm going to play you know, the Coliseum or something. I don't, if it's some 1973 Datsun hatchback that gets me there or a Ferrari, don't care. Give me either one. Just get me to the Coliseum, because that's what really matters. If that sound works for you, do those mods. Nothing's out of place. Nothing is ever out of place. You make it have a place. So, you know, stay to thine own self be true. I think nowadays people put laws on metal tone that made lots of bands sound similar. Montoni, you're speaking my language, man. Absolutely. Could not agree more. Would the new EMG pickup be a side-by-side hum canceling design? I think Duncan have the Apollos for passive side-by-side winds. The EMGs don't have hum. That's part of the advantage of it, but this is definitely a new architecture. It is a big winding. It's not like a thinner sounding J coil, but yeah, there's no hum, there's no issues with any of that. Dead silent, totally. Congrats on working with them. Yeah, I'm really blessed, and you know, I've been playing EMG since I started really getting cognizant of picking a tone. When, you know, it started to matter more as a bass player, every time I heard a new sound that I was like, oh my God, that sound, it always turned out to be EMG. From the Balls to the Wall album, I always loved like Peter Baltus's sound, EMG. Frank Bellows' sound, EMG. David Ellefson, EMG. It was like, it just kept coming up over and over. I'm like, I guess this is where my home is. And to see so many legendary players have signature pickups and, you know, be using these things as part of tones we've all loved, and then have them, you know, ask me to work with them on that. That's a big honor, and I've been really flattered by it, for sure. How do you avoid stealing the sound of someone else? I have a sound in my head. It just happens to be Eddie Jackson's NS2 sound on Mindcrime. Liam, my brother, I still reference that sound. The good news is you're never going to match something 100%, because you may even sound like it just by yourself, but by the time you get in your mix and playing with your guitar players and your drummer, it's never going to sound exactly in a mix the same way. The other part is this leans into what I call, and it's a principle I'm trying to figure out how to do a good lesson on, what I call hybridization. And it's usually that there are multiple things or multiple players' sounds or something I love. And really what I start to try and do is say, how can I take all of those and put them together into one thing? So, you know, there are elements of Eddie Jackson's sound in my sound. The low, mid, grind, and grunt he gets out of those Spectres, 100%. But there's an upper metallic grind and edge that he didn't have that someone like Dee Dee Verney would. So when I start putting together my tone, it's kind of like I'm taking that section of him plus another player I love and going, how can I gumbo these together and create a new sound? And that's when you get to your own personality. Be the sum of all parts and put them together. But really, you know, you're not going to match it. And the funny thing is, along the way, we wind up discovering little things. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But I would maybe explore and go, what other sounds do I really love that I could also want to play, and can I hybridize them? And that's when every player comes up with their own special sauce on something. It's a compression of all their influences mixed together to create something new. So just my thoughts on that one. I think I may have an HB. Okay. Those will fit in too. Cool. Parallel series phase. Got it. If it sounds good, it is good. Steven. Right on. Frank Bellows Among the Living Tone. Yeah. Did he use guitar amps or on bass to get there? As far as I know, with the Marshalls, they did it, and they also used an Ampeg. You know, the old traditional, if you see early Anthrax shows, that's always what was on stage. So I'm pretty sure that he had the Ampeg underneath of it. Keenan, thank you for inspiring me to pick up bass again. I wish, oh man, that does me a lot of good. Hits me right in the feels, man. I'm glad I could inspire that. That's about the best thing I could hear, man. So I hope your refreshed desire to take the bass journey pays off well for you, and thanks for the well wishes, man. Appreciate it. Still learning how to get the bass tone I like. Lately I've been lucky with a passive Fender 62 and a dual P Warlock. Got one of those right over there. Love those old ones. 62 Fender Spec PJs. Yeah, it can take some study. I find if you really want to get into this stuff, the best piece of advice in developing your own sound is study EQ and really learn it. Like being able to identify what 2K sounds like, what 500 hertz sounds like, and things like that. So when you hear a sound and you're like, oh, that's a piece of what I want, you can go, oh, he's got this boost here, he's got a little bit there, so you can internalize it quickly and then duplicate it on your own EQs. So maybe there are ear training courses you can take that instead of notes are actually sounds, and you learn to identify them. They're not difficult to do. All you're doing is listening and giving an answer. That might be worth looking into to train your ear to be able to really know what your imagination is hearing or another player is sounding like, and being able to make that immediate result happen in your sound. I like getting my tones in post instead of on bass. I agree. Low wind and can be boosted later. Yeah, a lot of people are going for slamming pickups and it winds up not being what they need. DeMarzio's I have trouble cleaning up. I understand that. Plans on doing collabs with other YouTubers. I'd be interested in that. I would. It seems like it'd be a lot of fun. But it's finding the right player. I've done a couple of reach outs, and some people just, how can I say it delicately? They don't like the thought of not being 100% the star all the time. And it's also, I gotta say, it's given me a little bit of insight into some of what's been going on YouTube, because after a bit of discussion or something, I really, and this is just my intuition, but kind of got the idea of, I'm not sure this person plays their stuff all the time. So collaborating, that might get exposed or something, but no, a great player who just wants to do something and have fun, I would absolutely love to. I think I'd actually like to do less of a bass thing and collaborate maybe with a guitarist or something. But I have a couple of covers coming up because I also do vocals on my own stuff and I need to get them in shape. So doing some heavier versions of like some classic Judas Priest and things like that. And I've got some players that are going to do on that. So I'll be doing those collabs. But as far as like a real video and maybe creating a lesson out of a collab or something, that'd be a lot of fun. It's just finding the right people that want to do it. Golden Ears Training. Right on it, right you. You're the man with the answers. GIT cassette tape ear training. Yes. Yes. It was, I remember going through that stuff. I actually did the David L. Burge cassettes of relative pitch at the same time as I was doing the Beaver Felton thing. So, yeah, somehow I still have all of those, but can't find them Beaver Felton cassettes. So again, if anybody has them, I'd love to see them. Now, there's something as far as Marcus, who is on Facebook and Metal Bass Mosh Pit. He put out the question about the Ibanez 805, and this is a problem too, where when a company makes proprietary shaped pickups, I consider it kind of insulting, to be honest. I always hate that because in a way they're forcing you to use their pickups for an eternity because it's the routing is shaped a certain way or something. He asked if I knew of any replacements for that particular series. And there really aren't any. You could maybe find something in like, you know, a slimmer M2 or M4 sized thing like these EMGs that would leave a gap in that area, and you'd have to make like a pickup ring or something, which that could work. But if you want something that's around the same size, you're probably stuck with wiring, unfortunately, Marcus. I mean, with routing, unfortunately, because all these size options, they just don't want to cooperate. He also asked about scales for 6-string that could be done in first position. If you're doing or extending your scales and you just want a couple samples, the easiest thing to do is just, because these are going to be more common and all over the web, is you can get, I recommend 3-note per string scale patterns. And you're probably going to find them more for guitar. And the 2 top strings, just take those pieces and slide them up a half step, because that, you know, that'll compensate for their tuning difference on the B and E strings, and that'll work. I work around patterns that do something like that, and I actually designed something that you may have heard about if you've been watching the channel for a while, because of course you have. And I call it the skeleton key system. And it works off 3-note per string patterns, and I can honestly say I've never seen anything else like it or approach done by someone else. It's kind of like the grand unified theory of scale and neck visualization. It's basically lets you see the entire neck in any key. You can just see it all over the neck. No playing bad notes, always understanding where you are. You can see every key signature's chord forms and the arpeggios for them. You understand the entire modal system. And you can also learn to be able to step outside of standard tonality and be able to recover without falling on your face using altered scales, that type of thing. And I wrote the whole thing and laid it out when I was teaching at Musicians Institute. And that was part of one of the reasons I left, is I was teaching it to kids and they started giving me a hard time because I was having them test out of theory in some of their other classes so quickly that they were having problems with getting their courses accredited, because what they were taking 6 months to teach them and not as good as I could, I was doing it in a matter of weeks. I'm going to start doing this program again. What it consists of is you get a PDF book with everything laid out, and the system is based on one simple idea. You learn it on the first page. If you can memorize one image, you get all that out of it. But you get the PDF booklet, and then there's 4 in-person sessions that I do over Zoom, so we work one-on-one, and just 4 sessions of going through, and then you've learned the entire system. And I've absolutely guaranteed that it does more for your playing and understanding of your instrument than pretty much anything else I've seen. And I have testimonials, so no bullshitting here on the channel. If you want to do that, I'm going to open up a couple of spots to do that, and I really think it's beneficial. Like I said, 4 in-person lessons, and the book, if you're interested in doing the program, just reach out to me, Rodney at rodneymcg.com, or you can leave me a comment or something with a way to reach out, and we can get together on it. But as far as those scale patterns, I recommend basing yourself out of that, because there's a formula that underlies all of the 3-note per string scales that once you see it, you can't unsee it. You just go like, oh Christ, it's been right there. So I would look at it that way, get a couple of the guitar things and just make that adjustment. And yeah, if anybody wants to try the program, I'd be happy to try and work with you, and I hope to hear from you. So that's my sales pitch, please. Let's see what we got here too. Eric Paschal, yeah, he's good people. Some are influencers first and musicians second. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they claim to be too busy with content, but what you want to do with them is content too, so whatever. Stephen Becker, good point about if the model gets discontinued with a unique pickup size in it, you're screwed. Exactly. And that's part of my beef with all that and why I'm glad EMG's offering this new one. Pickup shape. I kind of get why Dingwall does it. Yeah, well, no, having built a number of guitars myself, for those of you who don't know, I used to work for Paul Reed Smith for a number of years. And I know a good bit about building, and just like with EMG, they can put a P in 3 different or 4 different casings at options. There's no need to do that. You can fit it into a housing that makes it easily replaceable, but that's part of it. They want, when you buy this bass, you get this sound, and it makes a mark, and they don't want you to work with something else. And that just bothers me. It's like I'm the one that should be determining my tone, not the person I bought it from. It's kind of like this right to repair thing where it's like, if my iPhone goes down or something, I don't own an iPhone, but if it goes down, I can't touch it. I can't do anything. That even though I own it, if I open it, it violates everything and probably breaks it. It's like, no, this is my stuff. If I want to screw around with it, I should be able to without having to destroy the instrument. I've never appreciated that point of view with things. Yeah, the same thing with a lot of the Ibanez stuff. That's why I pretty much stick to their older things, Let's see. Like how Dingwall pickups? Well, you're lucky then. Good for you. Generally find Ibanez is a better deal for bassists making their cheap guitars than the quality parts casters. Eddie Jackson's Mind Crime tone has been one of my favorites since that came out. Yeah. It was a landmark in bass tone. Absolutely. 6-string, it definitely takes some work getting used to it. Not comfortable with it. I'd definitely be interested in the book. Yeah, well, if you decide you want to do the course and, we can get together. Like I said, it's the course is the book and 4 in-person guided lessons through it. Just hit me up and we'll see about getting together. Good to see more people are aware of right to repair. Yeah, it's my stuff. That's why I will, with all the problems with it and everything, I will never leave Windows or Unix because Apple, I refuse to be locked out of my stuff. I build all my own computers. I, tweak the hell out of them. It's my stuff. You can't sell me something and then keep control over it. That's bullshit. The BTB 7s. Yeah, not saying I have one sitting over there, but yeah, I've got some tapping compositions coming up that's going to be using the 7, so that'll be pretty cool. So that's covered it for the questions here. We've done the gear and everything. So I think we're probably going to go ahead and get ready to wrap here. If you have any last questions you want to squeeze in, that'd be cool. But this has been really fun. I'm glad I could catch up with you guys and we could talk about some things and I could give you a preview about what's coming up soon. I'm going to be, in the shorter term, most likely a couple of interviews. Some gear demos will be coming out, and mostly I'm going to be doing something where I'm going to be stealing a little bit of fire from the channel Cracking the Code, if you've ever seen it. It's like the Bible of how to use a pick, but it's a guitar-based channel, but the guy gets hyper scientific about it. But I'm going to do a really deep dive on aggressive fingerstyle playing, and I'm going to dispel and prove that a lot of the myths you hear are complete garbage. We're going to get not just opinion-based, but really going to dive in deep, and I'm going to show you the science behind it and how it works. I'm going to be showing some other players and how they function with things to get stuff, but I've demonstrated, I don't know how many times on this channel, that I can get what's supposedly a pick tone with my fingers, and I can damn near match it. It's more of a color difference, if anything. And you don't have to beat the shit out of your bass to do it. and there's a science behind why. So it'll do things for your endurance. It'll do things for being able to get a really aggressive tone and show you things exactly. I'm actually going to have a camera mounted on my fingerboard that'll do a close-up of my exact angle of what I'm doing and how it plays. And like I said, I'm going to show some other players' hands too. But that one will be probably the first into really doing deep dives on technique and that type of stuff. So I think that'll be a fun one. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to, you know, using real science and real sound to punch some of this crap in the face for all time. Because you can say it all you want, but you got to be able to back it. And it's time I back it on this one. So, hey, such a pleasure meeting you, Rodney. Pleasure to meet you too, my friend. Really good talking with you. Anytime, man. I'm going to try and do live streams after every couple segments of doing lessons too, so I can catch any questions you guys might have that are harder for me to address, like through a comment section and stuff. So hopefully I'll see you again there. Hey, Rachel, glad you can make it in on this one too, man. Oh, and greetings to Germany from the US, man. Thanks for jumping in here. And it's good to know. I really try and pick times that I think are going to be good for Europe, Asia, and the US. It's a really hard balance to do, even just in the US with our time zones. But glad this worked out for there. I'll make a mental note for the future ones. Cheers to you, Kevin. Good to see you, man. Fingerstyle bass will help us with classical guitar too, I hope. To a certain degree. Classical is more of a side thing that involves the thumb, but there are still kind of the scrolling and multi-finger things. And the principles, you know, all kind of work together. But this one's going to be a little more focused on, like I said, getting that rock and metal aggressive tone out of your fingers if you don't play with a pick, because so many people say you can't. Scott, good seeing you too, man. Forward to seeing you again as well. Absolutely. And I agree with Scott here. Doesn't matter what you play. All that matters is that you play. Perfect, man. So, Michael, just caught the live stream. Yeah, it'll be in replay, and all these questions will be in here too, so you'll be able to see what I'm addressing. So, you know, it'll process it a little bit, and you can watch anything you missed. I always am going to make the live streams available afterward, so you can check them out. Yeah, I saw Stephen, last question there. Owen's last Circle of Tone video. Yeah, I referenced it earlier in the stream. He went all in on the guitarist telling bassists how to get clank thing. He did, but I felt, and I made a post under it, that he was making a point that people scream that you have to do things one way. You have to do, and I said, I actually get the other. That people are constantly lecturing me that I have to use a pick no matter how many times. I sit there and tell them, I get the same tone with my fingers. I do it. I've been doing it for years on this channel. How the hell are you going to sit here in my comment section and tell me I'm not getting the sound that's in a video I just put out? So I'm going to prove it once and for all. But I dig Owen's channel, man. He's a sharp guy, and he makes a lot of really cool points. Digs up some great gear, and I think he was just demonstrate. I don't think he was really, at least to my impression, doing that kind of thing of like, you have to use a pick. He was saying fingerstyle players get so upset about a pick. I don't care what you do. You can play it with your nuts for all I care. If I hear a great bass tone, I don't have to look at you. I can just rock with it. Great. I'll look forward to hearing from you. Yeah, a long time ago, I thought about doing a response video to a astounding level of crap coming from Glenn Fricker. I don't hate the guy. I briefly spoke to him once. But, yeah, I mean, it's a shtick that he's doing. I get it. It's a joke. He has to have some kind of... It's branding. It's something he does to do his channel. I'm glad he seems to have relaxed on it a bit. It was getting a little long in the tooth there. But there are some things, too, where You know, everybody's got their pronouncement of this is what you do. And, you know, he would bitch about like bass players not changing their strings or something. And then he talks about how they'll just bury it in the mix anyway. Well, then what's the point then? But at other times, it's like I feel like I see a different Glenn where he mentions people like Tony Franklin and Joey Vera and stuff like that. And I'm like, you get what great bass players are. So I think a lot more of it's an act than anything else. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk to Glenn about stuff and trade ideas. And, you know, he seems like a genuinely, you know, thoughtful person. You don't have to agree with people all the time. I wish he'd stop yelling in my face, though. That gets tedious. I play with fingers, and people are constantly telling me how brutal I sound live. That's it. Final Bubba Bash thing for Carol here. At the last Bubba Bash concert that I played, one of the consistent things that I got as a compliment, and I consider it a great compliment, when I got off stage was a number of people said how aggressive I sounded. That they were like, man, you were really digging in. It sounded really grindy and everything. I don't play very hard. I'm not one of these guys that beats the hell out of the bass, and I think it really played to it that it's how I hit the strings, where I play along the body and neck, and my approach to it that made it sound like I was really grinding away, and that's how these people heard it. But I was doing it my way, and you'll see it in that video I got coming up. So, proof positive. Table of 9, you missed everything, man. But this is going to be on replay here. We're just finishing up, but you can watch it all coming through. But thanks for joining anyway. And maybe we'll see you on the next one. And remember, you can still leave comments on this video when it's done too. Just go to my channel, go to live, and you'll see the replay there. Time for one more. Yeah, man. Do I like lightwave optical pickup basses on Wilcox guitars? I'm not that familiar, honestly. I'd have to look into it. I know the name, and I think I know a little bit of it. But I'd have to investigate a bit more. Sorry, I don't have more for you on that. Misappropriation. Cool, man. And Table of 9. Thank you so much, my friend. Again, hope you enjoy the replay. Leave any comments you have in there, and I'll be following up with stuff on that too. And I appreciate the kind words, man. Genuinely. Right, you. See ya. So, that's going to do it. Glad to see you guys. And Class Grooves. Peace, brother. I will see you again soon. Take care of yourselves.